initially says, "It's president or nothing." And then, of course, with the help of Jeff screaming at him and Selena screaming at him, finally accepts. It's time for Selena to accept the nomination, which we know means winning the White House, thanks to the Chinese, who have already, of course, agreed to rig the election for her. In her best red dress of the series, she rushes to the stage as Furlong reminds her, foreshadowing, that someone will need to take the fall for the Meyer Fund. Then she finds Gary, who's wearing who's carrying that discontinued Dumonet lipstick that Selena wears only for the most special occasions. He picks a chia seed out of her teeth and gets a real genuine hug from Selena, who can't bring herself to tell him what she needs him to do, and God, he is never going to see her again because she's not going to visit him in prison. 2 episodes ago, Selena was saying that Gary couldn't be her fall guy because no one would believe that someone so dopey could be a criminal mastermind. But when Selena was bunking up at the Finnish embassy, Minna was warning her that she need to be more self-sufficient should her crimes catch up to her, because Gary wouldn't be with her in prison. And Gary had said, almost to himself, in really kind of a just stomach-clenching way, "Oh, I'll be there." And he was right. Selena gives her speech, which is a hilariously barely doctored version of the speech the veteran, who Selena was originally going to pick as her VP, was going to give. It gets to a section about sacrifice, just as she says that Gary is just being dragged away by the FBI, and she throws him a glance off stage, and that's it. That's it. It's really one of the most just deeply, just gut-wrenching and kind of heartless scenes and moves that we've seen. And coming from an ostensibly comedic show like Veep is kind of a perfect encapsulation of who Selena Meyer is, what she'll do to get there, and just kind of a really important and interesting kind of broader commentary on the soullessness of American politics and politics in general. Just the idea of just burning whatever is in your path, pushing past everything to get what you want. And that's really what she does here. So we skip ahead 6 months as Sue is back in a very satisfying callback to the earliest days of the show. VP Jonah and his chief of staff, Amy, cannot get in to see the president. They're penciled in for 1:30, go fuck yourself. Richard is off somewhere being the Secretary of Agriculture without Dan, because, of course, the condition to Richard being on Selena's administration was firing Dan. Selena's got Keith Quinn and Michelle with her in the Oval. She calls out for Gary, even though he is definitely never going to be coming back. Of course, saying a level of incompetence in this office is, as she says, to no one in the Oval Office looking haunted and alone, which is really kind of incredible, because she's just like, you have this moment where she's like, you think she's just going to kind of break down and be like, what have I done? What have I sacrificed? I've burned every relationship I've had. I've burned every friendship. Even my own daughter will never forgive me, because of course she's a lesbian. And when she did that thing with Buddy Calhoun and put Jonah Ryan on the ticket, that pretty much burned the relationship with her daughter probably forever. And she now has no relationships, no people that actually like her. And she is at least on top of the world. So yeah, of course, then she picks up the phone after that brief moment of self-doubt and talks to the Israeli Prime Minister, being like, what are those whiny Palestinians doing now? Yeah, so 24 years later, Mike is the host of the CBS Evening News, and he is reporting on Selena Meyer's funeral. Good thing she put together that guest list. Well, we learned Selena served just 1 full term, and Kimi eventually served 2. I guess Veep did want to preserve some of that sliver of optimism by the future, because in this timeline, President Richard Splett just won re-election and a Nobel Peace Prize for his 3-state solution plan for the Middle East. Selena's legacy is that she briefly freed what was once known as the nation of Tibet, plus she outlawed same-sex marriage. Amy marries Bill Erickson, with whom she just has a bunch of greyhounds, which makes a lot of sense. Dan does real estate and is married to someone who was born the year Selena was elected, which is literally 24 years ago. Kent is in denim, and Andrew even gets a little bit of a kind of brief mention. And then in probably one of the most chilling scenes there you will ever see, they finally bring back Gary.
Holy shit, Ames. Check it out. I didn't think he'd show. You know, I heard she never visited him.
Just keep walking.
And then cut to Gary standing at the casket, wreathed
You'd hate the flowers,
in the American flag.
but I brought the Dubonnet.
And then just puts the... Jesus Christ. There's just one of the... Just puts that casket of lipstick on top of the actual casket, or the little lipstick stick on top of the actual casket, and just what is one of the more just chilling, just sad scenes after literally she was slavishly devoted to Selina Meyer and just doesn't even visit him in prison for just years, which again just makes a lot of sense. To be quite honest, yeah, it's absolutely gutting. Not because it is... Not just because it's just the really sadness of the scene, but Gary is probably the only person who ever really loved Selina, and the only person besides Selina who thought she truly deserved to be president. She thanked him for his unrequited love and constant devotion by ruining his life, which was already all about her. To save us from collapsing under those feelings, Veep kindly ends things with a shot of all these soldiers struggling to get her vagina-shaped crypt open and struggling even more to get the casket inside. And, of course, then Tom Hanks dies immediately after, pushing Selina out of the news cycle. Some of the best lines of the show include when Selina is talking to Kemi, quote, "Stealing South Carolina is the bedrock of our political system. If you can't figure out how to steal South Carolina, you have no business being president." Selina says, I've been to Buffalo 6 times, and I'm not even a serial killer. That's another guaranteed laugh for the show. Ben asks Selina not to tell his family he's in the hospital. Her reply, quote, "Yeah, I've never even met them." The North Carolina delegates, when they announced Selina Meyer's nomination for president, saying, "We are proud of the historically black Fairfield University," whatever they have, "and the historically white Duke University." Selina explained to Catherine that it's no big deal to say she's against same-sex marriage on the party platform, and saying, quote, "It's a to-do list of things we're not going to do. Restore faith in democracy? We couldn't even do that if we wanted to." The Selina quote, chiseled into the wall at the library, of course, was, "Someone needs to do something about this." And, of course, Dan finally quit politics later on. He's technically fired, so Selina could say, "Sorry for yelling at Amy earlier and for feminism," or whatever. But this time, it really took. He's in real estate now. That was a big part of it. And some of the really kind of conclusions to this were really kind of good and fun and interesting. Selina also says about her former staffers, which pretty much sums up their entire dynamic. Why does everyone get good at their job after I fire them? Which is a very, very good question. All right, I hope you like the way we ended the last episode last week about The Sopranos, because we're going to be doing it the same way, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to take the quiz. Which Veep character am I? I will find it. Yeah, so everyone has a Veep character that matches their personality trait. Here's yours. So first, the one is pick. This is a shout out to BuzzFeed. Jenna Abbott doing this quiz. Pick a Selina Meyer nickname. Wicked Witch of the West Wing, Meyer the Liar, Veep Throat, Tawdry Hepburn, Veep Ilf, Mrs. Doubtmeyer. I like, let's see. I like Veep Throat. That's pretty crazy. Pretty funny. Let's see. Choose a state: New York, Alabama, Nevada, Iowa, Maryland, and then Washington, D.C. You know what? I'm going with New York, my home state. Choose a TV president posing by a flag. Let's see. David Palmer, Jed Bartlett, Fitz and Melly from Scandal, Tom Kirkman from Designated Survivor, Claire Underwood from House of Cards. All right, I think Fitz looks the best in that one. I'm just going with Fitz. Let's pick a secondary Veep character: Roger Furlong, Marjorie Palmiotti, of course, who's the wife of Catherine, Andrew, Selina's wife, Tom James, Danny Chung. Of course, you got to go with the wonderful Finnish ambassador, Minna Häkkinen. Which of these statements about power do you relate to? Let's choose one of those statements about power. The most important thing in life is having power. Power corrupts. Absolute Power Corrupts, absolutely. I'm going to go with that one. Finally, pick a Veep thing. This is the question. A Woman First, First Woman by Selena Meyer. That's her memoir. Ben's 9-cup coffee thermos. Catherine's apartment. Richard's cap. Amy's phone. And Gary's Leviathan. Oh, gotta go with Gary's Leviathan. It's classic. Oh, so, okay. I got a little bit of a duo. The dynamic duo, Kent Davidson and Ben Cafferty. So, looks like my idea of crisis management is screaming, "Oh Christ, we're fucked." All right. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this episode, watch this show, and do the series. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. We'll keep you posted on what we're going to be doing for the summer. Definitely will be something. But in the meantime, of course, our SWN content will be a lot more on YouTube. We're going to try and post something out there every day. How about that? So get ready for that. And, of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. That's interesting. We're going to end the show and the season with my favorite scene from Veep, which I think can best be described as just a montage of all the best insults from Veep, which are all just so good.
I know how to give a motherfucking speech. Don't you patronize me with your no jaw, you Congressman no jaw.
No, you gotta move that back. I'm not gonna have you eyeballing me all day. That's not gonna go right there.
Relax, cow eyes. Or I'm not gonna be sitting here looking at your cow eyes the whole time.
He is cold.
Yeah, he's got ice in his semen.
You haven't seen lipstick lying around, have you?
Oh yeah, it's in the office next to your Klonopin and feminine itch powder.
You can trust me and the people of Ohio. I think there's going to be quite a few surprises tonight.
Isn't that the catchphrase of the world's creepiest babysitter? Speaking of creepy, Kent Davison is back.
Kent Davison? The Pol Pot of pie charts, wow.
You can't reason with him. It'd be like explaining Supertramp to a Komodo dragon.
Two great Greek contributions to society, democracy and getting fucked up the ass.
Yeah, I've tried both, and they're way overrated, like jazz.